What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Martian and Ozzy podcast. I am the Martian, joined by my co-host, as always, Ozzy. And this week, we're going to be talking about the UFC Vera versus Cruz card going down in San Diego, California. Another kind of weak card, but with a great main event, amazing fight, a main event for this card. And how we doing this week, my man?
Hell yeah, fucking right. Um, yeah, the UFC, this is vacation season. I said it last week, I think. Some people, take vacations to UFC events like my boy Jonah Schiffman. But, we got this card at the top. They're building it around Dominic Cruz, a legendary fighter, one of the best 135er ever. And it just connects to me because I remember freaking watching Versus, watching, Dominic Cruz beat up like Brian Bowles and these motherfuckers. So I'm looking forward to it. Unfortunately, I will not be catching. I'll see what I can finagle, but I'm definitely trying to be up in front of a screen watching Dominic Cruz do his thing at the end of this night at some point. Watching this main event, but the rest of the card, I could definitely do without.
You'll be touching grass during this card again, just like last week.
Yeah, multiple weekends touching grass. We try to keep up. It's been too good, decent. I mean, last week was good. This week, hopefully, we roll that success over. I mean, I'm not even interested in the Kamaru Usman pay per view. I got something going on that day as well. So, yeah, we're mixing up the playbook, if you will.
Yeah, last week was good. 3.13 unit win for me. Both prop bets hit, and Usman comes through as a dog. Jeff Neal looks amazing in his performance, and even the losing bets that I had, Edgar Santos and Gonzalez, I'm very satisfied with those, even though they lost. What about you, Ozzy? How'd you do?
Gonzalez. Oh no, Santos. Yeah, Santos. Yeah, you had Edgar. Yeah, so I mean, started off the night pretty good. Bueno Silva. I bet a little bit on her no scorecards as well, just because I mean it was just a good bet I think for Bueno Silva. So that was fortunate. We agreed on that in Mikal by KO, which was nice. Probably should have had late more there. And then the late pivot to the Sakai over 1.5 comes through. I honestly was pretty. I was started getting inebriated early on Saturday, so I did not put down that Jeff Neal bet. Usman, like I was texting people, like, "Hey, let me know when Jeff Neal starts fighting," because I wanted to bang more down on him. So yeah, it was a very good card, very good. And I think did I make one? I made one live bet. No, I don't think I made any live. It was the card. I didn't watch the card. What am I talking about?
The
Oh,
Jeff Neal,
I know I did. I caught the after the first round, I watched the Hill fight. I saw a little bit of that, and I did put like a small live bet on it. It was a good card. It was a good night for me,
yeah, very good
all
card
all
for me.
all around.
Yeah,
Three and a half units up, 3.53.
the
So
Spivak most takedowns, that was a good one. That was a good one for me.
there
Got
you go.
another most takedown bet we'll talk about a little later. But yeah, so our best bet parlay last week, it was technically canceled because Ozzy's was the Lipski-Cachoeira. I sent him a text the day of. I said we need a new best bet. He says Sakai-Spivak over 1.5. I sent the tweet out with Michal KO, and we cashed. We had a little audible there, but we still managed to profit. Shout out to anybody who got in on that. And that'll do it for last week's recap. We got 13 fights this week, a lot of rescheduled fights. Three fights we've already talked about on the card, so don't fault us if we don't talk about Witt-Quinlan, Nina Nunes, and Calvillo and Lipski-Cachoeira for too long because we've already talked about those fights. So we'll give you a quick recap of our thoughts, but don't expect any crazy analysis for those. A lot of these fights, honestly, I don't think are worthy of talking about too much. A lot of wide odds. I'm only looking at four fights where the odds are plus 1x or something. So uh, let's go first fight of the card. Bantamweight division. Youssef Zalal taking on Zalal-Blackshear. Blackshear coming into the UFC on short notice. Odds for this one have Zalal minus 130, Blackshear plus 110. Actually, a pretty solid fight to kick off the card. Blackshear is a fighter that was probably getting in UFC soon anyway, but he got called in here on short notice. Zalal going down to 135 here. That's something to consider. And Blackshear looks like a solid fighter to me. I think he's most comfortable grappling. He's actually a really good defensive grappler. Almost all of his fights I'm watching, his opponents shoot takedowns on him, and he's comfortable defending takedowns. He's comfortable in surviving bad positions on the ground. And Zalal's kind of the same way. He's really tough to submit. But I can see Zalal getting maybe taken down and controlled here for stretches. The striking is going to be really even. I don't think Blackshear is that comfortable staying at striking range for long periods of time. So I would probably give Zalal a slight edge there. And I think Zalal being a slight favorite here is probably right considering he has the more UFC experience. But this is a good fight. I think Blackshear will stick around to win UFC fights. And a bet I like here is this fight going the distance. I just don't think these guys really have what it takes to finish each other. Neither guy is a big finisher. Blackshear is pretty good at submitting people, but Zalal survived a lot of nasty attempts for Suporia on the ground, and I think he can survive here as well. So I like the GTD here.
I would lean towards that as well. I know Damon Blackshear. I've seen multiple of his fights in the past. He was always either on the CFFC card or like some regional promotions that have his fights available. So I've seen him build up. I wasn't sure if he would definitely end up in the UFC, but glad that he did. His last like two fights specifically, I think have been pretty good. I do like the fight to go the distance, but the main thing is Zalal moving down makes me a little hesitant on that. I mean, the guy's a fencer. Like, he just throws jabs, runs away, throws jabs, runs away. In his last in or in the Woodson fight, he did mix it up and was pressing him into the fence and going for takedowns himself. But I think that's because Woodson was just so big and long. I think he's gonna look to stay at range here, but I just don't like his game overall. I don't think this guy is someone who wins UFC fights. So I'll pick Damon to win. I think his grappling, if he can get solidify, like establish a takedown, I think Zalal will easily give up his back to him. And I think Damon's totally fine with controlling and taking the back, putting in a body triangle, transitioning to top positions from there. So I like Damon. I don't know if I'm gonna end up betting him for sure, just because it's at like plus even money plus 110. I hope that some Zalal money does come in. But I'll pick him to win, and I do like it to go off all three.
That's going to take us to a fight that is now in the catchweight 180-pound division. Witt-Quinlan. This fight was supposed to happen last week. We have Quinlan minus 280, Witt plus 240. So I'm not really exactly sure what happened to cancel this. Apparently, Quinlan had something in his system that Las Vegas didn't approve him of. So they're just moving the fight to California. Not really sure what that is. You think that means he's still doping, likely, Ozzy?
No idea.
You can just go ahead with your breakdown too.
Oh, I mean, I'm not interested in this fight. The only guy I would bet is on Jason Witt. Quinlan. I mean, he has decent cardio though. So that's why I've won on Jason Witt fights and I've lost on Jason Witt fights, and I've just decided I'm not doing either on any of them going forward anymore because it's just ridiculous. Like I'm not even gonna say how in what condition I took that L last time when I had him like plus like 130 or 140. I think I had over Phil Rowe, and people say, oh, you should have saw it coming. I did see it coming, asshole. But I was hoping that he could fucking hold the guy down, and he was doing it for like what like 70% of the fight he was in control. So I'm done with Jason Witt. I think he's done with the UFC after this fight. Quinlan, I think, could carry some power. We'll hit him on the chin. We'll be able to, dig some underhooks and not let freaking Jason Witt just, double leg him and carry him around the cage. So hopefully Jason Witt is gone from the UFC, so I don't ever have to see his name on the odds board again. But yeah, I'll pick Josh Quinlan.
Yeah, so my read on the fight is that the Quinlan, just starts that dude on Contender Series, right? Knocked him out in 30 seconds. But if you watch Quinlan's fights before that, I think that might have been a little bit of an outlier. He kind of likes to jab and fight slow, and he's fought in LFA and gone the distance against, pretty low tier competition. So I think that maybe the fight going longer is the way to play this one. I think maybe the over 1.5. And then even Quinlan decision, I can see this being a fight where Witt takes him down and controls him for a bit and then gets up and then gets hurt on the feet and then the round's over and Quinlan kind of steals the round back with his punches and maybe not having to cut that extra 10 pounds is going to be good for Witt's chin. He might be able to absorb some strikes a little bit better. So I kind of like for this fight to go the distance and then maybe some Quinlan decision on top for that. But honestly, either guy has a decent chance to win this fight if it goes to decision. So maybe just take a small bet on that plus 165 GTD here. And last week every fight ended by finish. Maybe we get some regression this week, and every fight ends GTD. So next fight's going to be the flyweight division. O'Day Osbourne taking on Tyson Nam. Osbourne minus 270, Nam plus 230. Nam is just not that great of a fighter. I mean, he's I think what 38 at flyweight here. Came into the UFC a little bit too late, and yeah, 38 at flyweight. That's just not a good formula. The guy does still seem like a decent athlete, but I mean, I just think it's gonna probably fall off pretty hard here as he gets older. And O'Day is, a solid fighter. He's a bit flawed. He's a little chinny, but I mean, Nam is just only right hands, man. This guy really only just kind of throws overhand rights and doesn't have a whole lot of ways to set him up. Doesn't have good output. Doesn't have great cardio. Not really a grappling threat either, man. So I just don't see where O'Day loses this fight outside of getting caught with that big hand. Nam KO at 5-1 might even be better than his money line, just because this guy seems like he's only going to win by knockout to me. So O'Day, I think, is going to give him some problems with the southpaw, the size here, and O'Day's win over CJ Vergara, I think, is aging pretty well. Vergara is a solid fighter, and O'Day was able to take 2 rounds off him rather easily. So yeah, I like O'Day in this fight. I mean, no bets I really see interest me. Maybe the under 2.5. I think they probably are going to bang it out in this one, and somebody's going to win by knockout. What are you thinking here?
Um, what's this called? Jason Nam, he has 2 wins over like the 2 worst guys to fight ever in the 125, or 2 very lowly rated fighters. Overall, I just don't think he has the speed and reflexes that he needs to implement his, like you said, very limited game with the boxing only. Or he's gonna have like 5 inches in reach. He throws kicks, so he's fine to grapple as well. He's got decent timing on the feet, and he throws some decent kind of like counter shots. Excuse me. So I think he will land a counter or multiple counters on Tyson Nam, just be ahead of him overall and win the fight by decision. So O'Day by decision is what is that? That is so the over is 2.5, 105. By decision, 215. Give me that. That's 220. That's pretty good. So I'll take O'Day by decision plus 220.
Yeah, that's not bad. I mean, I don't think Nam has ever been. He definitely hasn't been finished in the UFC, right? I mean, I'm sure he's been finished at some
Marlon,
point.
yeah, Marlon Moraes knocked him out.
Yeah, but I mean, he hasn't lost by knockout in 9 years, so maybe you're onto something by that. Um, okay, and I changed my mind. No more under. I like Ozzy's read on this one. So, lightweight division now: Gabriel Benitez, Charlie Ontiveros. We have the odds in this one. Ontiveros is a huge dog, plus 290. Benitez minus 365. So, any thoughts here, Ozzy? Pretty hilarious
Nope.
fight, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, Ontiveros is made of glass. The guy's not built for this. Benitez is gonna finish him in the first 2 rounds. So Benitez, let's go Benitez by submission. That
Wow.
is
So
850. Give me that. Let's go.
yeah, so Ontiveros is a role player indeed. I think he was one of the first guys I deemed a role player, and I think I'm on the. I think all my role player reads are pretty spot on. This guy is just not a real fighter. Comes out throwing axe kicks. I would like to see if any books are offering Ontiveros by axe kick KO in round one, because that might be a prop worth stabbing on. This guy honestly like is sort of dangerous in the first few minutes. Remember this dumbass Steve Garcia legitimately almost got knocked out multiple times in that fight before eventually just mopping the floor with Ontiveros. But I mean, Garcia is kind of a shit fighter who's not durable as well, and he's still dominated Ontiveros. So I mean, someone's getting finished here early on. Might be a square play, but sometimes these ones come through. But the Benitez KO at minus 140. I mean, I'm pretty sure that he's going to be landing some straight left hands, and I doubt Ontiveros takes too many of them before falling down. But Ozzy's angle with the sub is decent too. I mean, it could be a knockdown club and sub type of thing. Enough about that one, though. Women's flyweight division next. One of these canceled fights. Nina Nunes, aka Nina Ansaroff, taking on Cynthia Calvillo. The odds for this one have Nunes or Calvillo is the favorite, minus 190. Nunes plus 165. I think this line has gotten wider since the last time they fought for Calvillo, so people are liking Calvillo now. Um, I guess it's my turn to start this one off, man. I mean, I think this one should probably go the distance, and I think it probably should be Calvillo. I just give uh, the grappler the edge in this matchup. I mean, honestly, women's MMA coming to the point where you just gotta kind of lean to the grappling, like the Miller versus Brogan fight last week. I mean, in retrospect, it's like one of those women grapples a lot, the other one doesn't, and the one who grapples a lot dominated. So I kind of think that Calvillo will win the fight here, but Nina Nunes, her camp, looking good. Obviously, her wife Amanda Nunes looking good lately. So I was kind of writing Nunes off, thinking that she's a bit too old for this. Don't really know what her training situation is like, but Nunes, that good for Team Nunes. A couple weeks ago, her getting her belt back and everything. So I don't know. No real thoughts or bets here for me. I guess goes the distance is probably the best bet. What about you, Ozzy?
This is absolutely ridiculous. This is the now third time that I've had to talk about this dog shit fight. Um, I mean, who this Nina? They should have. Man, this fight sucks. I don't know why people are betting on Calvillo that much. I mean, I've always been thought that Calvillo has like a decent MMA game overall, but at this price, man, I actually think I might click on the Nina side, especially we get to like 180, right, 175, something like that, just because that gives me a low enough bar in the decision equity where I mean I don't really see Nina finishing Cynthia. So Cynthia I think is the only one with the finishing equity, but the goes the distance is very, very short. So I think they're kind of pricing this as Nina's gonna get put on the ground and Calvillo's gonna have an easy time maneuvering around her guard and all other positions. But I'll take Nina by a decision, which is now I'll just take the
220.
money line. Just take the money line, but 220 is not bad. I mean, north of 150, that's when this line is wide. So I think I'll probably take a little Nina, but I mean, if that's a significant wager for you, touch grass.
Seek help. Yeah.
Yes.
Next fight is heavyweight division. Lucas Brzeski taking on Martin Buday. Brzeski making his UFC debut. Buday here is the favorite at minus 300. Brzeski plus 250. Am I saying that guy's name right? Buddy Buday? What are you calling him here?
Today.
Buday. Okay, your turn to start this one off.
You say the odds?
Yeah, minus 300. Buday. Brzeski plus
Yeah.
250.
Yeah, so I laid some Buddy Boudet minus 225. I just think, the guy's not good, right? He's not good overall. But I mean, he comes forward. He's got pretty good cardio for the heavy, like very good cardio, I would say, for the heavyweight division. He seems pretty durable to me. He keeps his hands up. He'll throw a few different, strikes, including illegal ones, borderline. You always like to see that. And Lucas, I mean, he only really has like 3 or 4 solid minutes in him where he can put in, significant work on someone who's resisting. And I think Bude will push the pace, or not push the pace, control the pace, grind on him, put him in the clinch, do the same thing he did to Barnett, honestly. He'll probably eat a few solid shots in the first 2.5 minutes. But then after that, I think he'll settle him down. He'll land some jabs, maybe throw a leg kick in there or so and when very lackluster. I know people like the over. I'd take Boudet. Boudet's not gonna lose this, guys. So I got Martin Boudet.
Yeah, I think Boudet will win, rather comfortable as well. It's just this guy's margins are going to be always a little thin because his main game is kind of pushing against the cage, and he does throw some knees in there, but I could see some round stealing moments, swinging the rounds back for Bresky, but I mean, I think Boudet should control this fight. He's just good at getting the fight to the cage, and Bresky throw some offense. He has potent offense when he just throws it, but this guy's gonna have no way to stop Buday from just pushing him to the cage. Do you guys really trust Brzeski's footwork? Do you think this Brzeski guy is doing, footwork drills where he's circling off the cage? Hell no. This guy's gonna back up in a straight line and get held against the cage for however long Buday wants to put him there. So I'm looking to play the fight to go long. I mean, the way these guys' last fights, are a perfect example. I mean, Buday is fighting Chris Barnett, and it goes into the third round. Brzeski is fighting some low level guy in the Contender Series, and it's going into the third round. I mean, I really think these guys should kind of cancel each other out, and the fight should go long. The over 1.5 got steamed, so I'm maybe waiting for it to come out on Bet Online on the alternate lines before I look to play. Maybe starts round 3 instead because I just think this one's going to go long. Even GTD at plus 180. I mean, I think that's a good line. I mean, Budaya just doesn't strike me as a finisher, and he's be controlling the fight. And yeah, I think this one could go long. So look to play the fight that way.
She ain't 180.
She ain't a lady. That is true. Speaking of the ladies, we got a next fight next in the 120-pound division. Lupi-Godinez versus Angela Hill. Lupi here is the favorite, minus 350. Angela Hill plus 285. So imagine if this fight was scheduled like a year and a half ago. Ozzy and I would have been talking about it for like 15 minutes. I would have been passionately defending and betting Angela Hill, but a lot has changed in that time. And I recognize that it is the Lupi-Godinez era. Ozzy saw this coming, a good while ago.
Long
Um,
time ago. Long time ago, I was on it. A
this
long
is
time
true.
ago. Long
It's
time
just
ago.
And I think, outside of one fight for Loopy, you've nailed the reads on Loopy so far in the UFC, and so I got in some early numbers on Godinez, earliest of numbers on Godinez, and I really think I hate to say it about my girl Angie Hill, but this is an unwinnable fight for her. I don't see how Angela wins, and I honestly think that the line is still short on Godinez. I cap her minus 600, and that's on the conservative side here. So I mean, the striking, it has potential to be close, but even there I give the advantage to Godinez, and the wrestling, it just isn't going to be close. Godinez is going to absolutely demolish Hill. Sorry about the motorcycles. But So yeah, I mean, Godinez is gonna double leg Hill. She's gonna ran right over her, and there's just no chance that Hill can stop these takedowns. I think Godinez's top game is looking better and better. She just destroyed Carnelossi on the mat, and I just think this is going to be a terrible fight for Angela Hill. Angela Hill does not grapple, guys. Like when she goes back to the gym, she just like kickboxes. She hits the bag a little bit. She hits some pads. She's not grappling. She's not wrestling. They came together on really short notice, and it's just very bad news for Hill. So Godinez is the what I would say the lock of the century, minus 325. Parlay her with anything else you're confident in because I would be eternally shocked to see this one, to see Angie win this one.
Yeah, I don't know why they matched up Angela Hill with another grappler here. I think she's gonna get taken down often, and plenty. But she might survive. But I mean, I'm not gonna get involved in this fight. I was thinking about like trying to thread the needle and get like some Godinez by submission. But I don't think she's gonna submit Angela Hill. She's probably not gonna even try that hard, and it's just gonna infuriate me. So I'm just gonna pass. Godinez is my girl, but this fight is not interesting to me. The fact that they moved it up, makes it even less interesting for me as well. But Angela Hill, she is back hometown kind of fight. She was based out of San Diego for a while. Maybe Godinez, the thing is, Godinez is so reliable to just grapple that Angela Hill is not going to win. So, Lupi Godinez.
Yeah, that's the main thing is she's wrestling more and more often in her fights, and if she wrestles, I just don't see how Hill has any chance here. So Um, lay the wood on this one. I recommend it even at these crazy prices. Rare time women's MMA chalk is approved on this podcast. Next fight, first fight in the main card, middleweight division. Gerald Mearshart taking on Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva is the favorite here. Um, let's see where are these odds at. Minus 280, GM3 coming back plus 240. Any interest in the old dog here, GM3, Ozzy?
been thinking about it. I've been thinking about it, but the thing with GM3 is like he doesn't do anything to stop offense from coming his way. So I mean, he's gonna have to get fortunate here with like some kind of scramble or something like that where I'm not even necessarily saying he needs to get a submission. It could be just him getting on top of Bruno. But the thing is, he's just gonna be there for Bruno to hit, and Bruno's gonna start teeing off at some point. I don't know when, but it's gonna get to a point where he's throwing overwhelming offense at Gerald Meerschaert, and Meerschaert probably will not be able to withstand and take those shots. So the not goes the distance here is, let's see, under 1.5 is -121. I don't like that. I don't like anything in this fight. I don't like any of the odds available here. Maybe Silva by KO, but I don't think I'm taking GM3. I had a little faith in him against what's his name, Jocko, but yeah, I don't think he's gonna win this fight. So I think it'll be a Bruno Silva win, and I think it'll be a Bruno Silva finish.
Yeah, it might be, but I don't know. You can't bet on Silva KO is 60% when his money line is not even 75%. So they're saying he's got like a less than 15% chance to win by decision. I think that's off. I think I mean this is such a classic GM3 fight. He's fighting a dangerous striker, a guy who's more athletic than him. He's pretty comfortable in this role. But he is going to be outgunned on the feet by a pretty big margin here. He's going to be get hit with hard shots, and he's going to have to grapple super urgently to avoid getting knocked out here, and he doesn't exactly do that. He kind of grapples like reactively. He waits till he gets rocked before finally shooting his first takedown, which is just not good. Um, but one bet could be interesting here. Fight starts round two. They have it at -132 on FanDuel. Ozzy. I mean, that's like saying that this fight is going to end in round one, like 45% of the time. I mean, I think that's off. I think GM3 is tough enough to survive a little bit. He's gonna lay on his back if he gets hurt, or he's gonna initiate a clinch if he gets hurt. I think he's tough enough to last at least a round. I don't think he's gonna get blasted like Chimaev did and just put him out ready. So maybe look to play that, and always look to live bet GM3 here. Um, enough about that one. Next fight is in the women's bantamweight division now. Fight also was supposed to happen last week. Ariane Lipski taking on Priscilla-Cachoeira. This fight is going up 10 pounds in weight, and the odds are about the same. Lipski -190, Cachoeira +165. So I mean, I was kind of leaning Lipski last week. I mean, I think she's the more skilled fighter of the two. It's just Cachoeira is insanely durable. She keeps coming forward, and she's a hard fighter to beat really cleanly because she just always finds a way to come back. And I think Lipsy might actually struggle with her physicality a little bit, and I'm kind of thinking that this is on the dog or pass side of things now. I think Cachoeira at these late prices, if she keeps going up, might be worth a play. Just because it's gonna be some sloppy low level shit. And last week, I'll pass it over to Ozzy. Ozzy liked it in this fight last week. I'm interested to see if he still likes it. I think I'm a little more hesitant on it, but I might end up on it still. So I'll pass it over to you.
Oh yeah, man. Give me the ghost distance again. I don't give a fuck. More weight, less weight, different location, West Coast, mid fucking West time zone. I don't care where it is. These girls are not finishing each other. Even better. Even better. We got the big cage. So we got an extra however many square feet to fucking work in there for Lipski to run away from Priscilla Cachoeira. If Ji Yoon Kim had the 30-foot octagon, there's no way Priscilla finds her with those elbows. There's no way Priscilla wins that fight. And yeah, the same thing's gonna happen here. It's gonna be Lipski by decision. I don't care who wins. It's gonna be someone by decision. And yeah, I mean I bet that shit more now this week. I think the over was minus like 210 last week or 200 maybe. It's 170 now. Give that shit to me again. So yeah, load up. There's no finish happening. So yeah, those are my thoughts on that fight.
I think I'll still bet it, but a little. I'm gonna go a little smaller than I was planning
A
to
little
last week. I'm
smaller.
taking the coward's way out.
You fucking
Um,
sissy.
um. All right, enough about that one. Let's see. 205 next. Devin Clark taking him on Azamat Murzakanov. Dev Clark's underdog plus 125. Murzakanov minus 145 here. So your turn to start this one off.
If some people are excited about this fight, they want to bet on Devin Clark. Oh, and I like Devin Clark. I've bet on Devin Clark multiple times. I've also bet against Devin Clark multiple times. And I feel like I have usually a pretty good read on him. Devin Clark's got a good motor. I'll give him that. And in a fight against a guy like Murzakanov, I would say that is important because Murzakanov, when he is playing out his offense, if you can absorb it, or skirt away a little bit, it takes him a little bit to recharge. You know what I mean? And it does, especially if it goes into later rounds. So that's like the attribute I would say that I like the most about Devin Clark. He's good in between. He's good in keeping a steady pace, keeping you under consistent danger. So I can understand why people, are betting Devin Clark. I definitely would not lay juice on fucking Murzakanov. Like he's just not. I mean, he can knock out Devin Clark, but the thing is, like, not a lot of guys knock out Devin Clark, and he only has real power with his left hand. So yeah, I'll probably pick. Yeah, I'll pick Devin Clark, but I don't want to bet on this fight anymore. So the rest of these lines now are of no interest to me.
No, you can't pick a dog and not bet him. You gotta bet him.
I can do
You
whatever I
got
want.
you
I can do
gotta bet
whatever I
Dev
want.
Clark. I got Dev Clark here. This man's just a workhorse. He's like Ozzy was saying, good in all areas of the fight. Last fight against William Knight, I think probably the best performance of his career. And this is a guy who always had a solid skill set, but just got unlucky a few times. Never had the best of chin. But I really think this guy's getting better and still coming into his own here. And Murzakanov, man, we got fucking hosed on his last fight, taking Taff on decision, and just way on our way to victory there before that crazy flying knee knockout. And, Tafon is just a slow striker, nothing too crazy in the feet. And he was piecing Murzakanov up. And I think that Murzakanov is, just getting steadily getting overrated here. That undefeated record, the Russian name, people are just thinking this guy's a lot better than he is, but he's nothing special. He's, kind of a low volume southpaw striker. And Dev Clark I think is going to be the better wrestler here. I think he's got the more reliable cardio, and it's going to be a close striking fight. But I like Clark to get the fight against the cage, maybe get on top here, and just make the fight dirty, and grind out another victory here. So I like Dev Clark here. The prices are still good, man. Like even at this plus 125, he's good. He should maybe be the slightest of underdogs here. So next fight, crazy this fight is even happening on a UFC pay-per-view or on a UFC card, let alone the third top fight on the card. Uh, I haven't even looked into pronouncing these women's names. Yasmin versus Lucindo. We'll go with so Yasmin is the favorite here, minus 200. Lucindo plus 170. Ozzy, I'm dying to hear your thoughts on this one.
No,
Uh,
it's your turn.
oh, it is son of a bitch. Well, I really enjoy watching some more, gymnasium fights. I like to call them. Every now and then, you get these women coming into the UFC, and you watch their fights on YouTube, and they're just like in the middle of like a high school gymnasium or something like that, and like their friends are filming the fight, and they just always produce some fun fights to tape. So Lucindo is a body lock trip takedown gal. That's she does every one of her fights. She gets to the body lock, she trips her opponents, and she outgrapples some really low level opponents, but she does seem to have like a consistent path to win fights. That she's comfortable in that game, and that's a good idea. Even if it's a sloppy process, at least it's some process at all. Yasmin, she looks like the much more dangerous striker for sure. She looks like maybe an okay defensive grappler, but there's just not much footage of her out there defending takedowns. But she does have a win over Chris Adams, who is a woman who trains in Philadelphia, who I know is a solid woman fighter. She knocked her out in I think the first round, so that's an impressive victory for Yasmin. And I think she probably is going to piece up Lucindo while it's on the feet. It's just a matter of can she defend those takedowns. In a way, it kind of reminds me of Cheyenne Buys versus Monstrat Ruiz back in the day, where Buys, was sure to outstrike her, and all Ruiz had was that head and arm throw, but it still worked to get her that decision. So, um, you know, I'd say Yasmin has the higher ceiling of the two. as a career, but I'm not ready to lay that -200 juice on her. She has to prove to me that she can defend takedowns before I do it, or before I endorse that. So it's Lucindo or pass, man.
Favorite or pass? So the rare distinction
No,
passed
no,
on by John. You said
no.
favorite or pass?
I
No,
said
you said the other.
Lucindo or pass. That's dog
Oh,
or pass.
oh, my bad.
That's cool, bro.
Um, yeah, I don't really give a shit about this fight, but I mean, I think that Yasmin is the side. Earlier in the week, I watched Yasmin and I was not impressed. I was because even the girl that Martian's talking about, like she literally turns away from her after she's getting like her head bashed in on the feet. She just like running away. She gives up. Um, but Yasmin, I mean, she moves in and out. She plays with the distance a little bit. It's hard to just lock her down. I think we're in the big cage, so I think she will benefit from that. This girl, Lucindo's fighting in, like you said, those little cages in Brazil, fighting complete bums as well. But the thing is, she's been fighting for a long time. I mean, this girl had a pro fight when she was like 15, which is insane. As the Giants fumble in preseason football, nothing new. Um, so yeah, I mean, I feel that Lucindo's just not going to be able to get the offense going early. Yasmin's probably going to get out to a lead, but I mean, you never know with these girls. I usually like betting on the girl that has the better ground game, but I feel like the way that Lucindo looks to get the fights to the ground is should be easy enough for Yasmin to defend. But I don't think Yasmin's that great of a prospect. Just after I looked at Lucindo again, I was like, all right, like probably her game doesn't work, at 20. She's got some years to, go through. So I'll take the Mexican Yasmin for the win.
How the hell did these women get on a UFC card? They got signed outright. They didn't get Contender Series. They didn't get Ultimate Fighter. The UFC was like, yeah, these women are good enough.
Combate,
Let's bring them
bro.
in right now.
If you
Uh,
dominate Combate, which is a high level organization in North America, you get in. As simple as that.
that's, I guess that's the case. So that takes us co-main event. Actually, a pretty fun matchup here. Featherweight division. David Onama taking on Nate the Train Landwehr, and Onama -330, Landwehr +270. Major steam coming in Onama this week. He was under 2-1. Like last week, I believe. Yeah, the same time last week he was -187. Now all the way down to -330. The market's loving Onama. What are you thinking on this one, Ozzy?
I love it. I love this fight. I think Nate was supposed to fight what's his name, Zhugov, which is a way higher level fight than David Onama. There's no way. I don't remember who said it. There's some person on the podcast I listened to. They're like, "Oh yeah, like I'd be shocked if Onama." I think maybe it was on the Kenny Florian podcast or the John Anik and Florian. The guy they have on is like, "I'd be shocked if this Onama guy, doesn't turn out top five." I'm like, top five? What the fuck is this guy watching? And I think it's just recency bias. You see a guy get a few nice KOs, fight from left, southpaw, fight from, orthodox, show some takedowns. And you're like, oh man, this guy's so good. But the fact is, this guy's defense is not that great on the feet. He looks, I mean, I'm not saying that he's not durable, but I mean, he gets hit with some of these shots, and like, I think that they clearly affect him, albeit the guy's got power. He throws a diverse set of strikes out there. He showed some grappling in his last fight. But Nate Landwehr is a completely different test than Onama is used to. Onama does have the knee in his arsenal that has put Nate down multiple times. But I liked when he was coming into UFC. I was shocked when he lost to Herbert Burns. But when he was coming into UFC, I was like, all right, like I like this guy's skill set. I like what he can do. He fought and he's fought only tough guys since then. He has not fought as smart as he's like able to. You saw that a little bit more the Klein fight. Smart pressure, using the clinch, using the straight punches, going for takedowns, threatening that choke, that anaconda. He tried to use it multiple times, and I just think the guy's a good fighter, smart. Not that smart, but knows that he can't just fight in one way and win effectively. And yeah, if he shores up any of the defense, holds his hands up any higher, and is able to come into the pocket on his terms, I think this fight is more closely to like minus 150 for David Onama. So I've got Nate for a little bit. I got him as a bet this week. One of my favorite bets on the card. So I'm going dog hunting 270. Very, very good price, very good number. I already got some 260. So I added a little bit 270. And yeah, that's one of my favorite plays in the card. I like Nate Landwehr.
Yeah, I'm agreeing with what you're saying. And, Nate is a guy who I was high on when he came into the UFC, and then I kind of lost a little bit of faith in him. But then, now I think is the time to like get back on. I kind of felt the same way with Jeff Neal. I really liked Neal in his early career, lost a little faith when he was losing, and now that he's, a dog again in these fights, I'm back having some faith in him. And I just think that Landwehr is getting way undervalued in this fight. I mean, I agree with your assessment of Onama. This guy, the fans, the market just think he's a lot better than he is. I guess it's just the fact that he's a really good athlete and he gets away with a lot of stuff. But skill wise, man, I don't think this guy is anything great. I mean, Armfield, what's the guy's name, right? Yeah, Armfield was having success. He was landing strikes. I think he even take Onama down once or twice. I thought Armfield,
Yeah, I think he they grappled. They stalemated like once or twice.
yeah. And I mean, Onama was like what 700 in that fight and didn't even look remotely minus 700. I just think the market is just getting way too high on this guy, and they're doing it time and time again. And you might as well wait before betting because it seems like this action, this parlay action on Onama, just keeps coming in, and we might even get over 3-1 on Landwehr at some point, maybe on fight day. And I just think Nate's gonna be in his face the entire time. I think that, Onama's not gonna have much success defending, or hitting his own takedowns here. Nate's a pretty solid defensive grappler, and I think it's just gonna be a striking fight. Maybe Onama, his power is a little bit better than we expect, and Landwehr's head will be, on the center line for Onama to hit, but I mean, if Landwehr doesn't get hurt and finished here early, man, he's gonna make this a dogfight. He's gonna be in Onama's face the full 15 minutes. And Landwehr's got good cardio. He comes on strong in later rounds. The Klein win that was a really good win where he built as that fight went and eventually submitted him in the later rounds. So, I think the market is sleeping Nate here, and I think it's for sure Nate or pass. And I'll probably end up on Nate for a smaller bet than Ozzy, but I'm gonna have a bet on him here as well. It's gonna be the main event time, bantamweight division. Marlon Vera taking on Dominink the Dominator Cruz. Marlon Vera minus 240, Dom Cruz plus 205. Do you want to start this one off first, Ozzy, or do you want me to
No,
go?
no, you go.
All right. Well, this is an amazing fight. You gotta love both of these guys. But I think this line is getting a little crazy. Marlon Vera, he has a very typical fighting style where he often loses his fights for a good portion of the fight, and then starts building into the fight as it goes on. He starts coming back. He's very comfortable losing. A round, 2 rounds, and then still coming back and finishing these guys or winning by decision. And he's very impressive in that matter. It's happened, you know, half a dozen times throughout his career, and he really has made a habit out of it. And you got to be aware of that betting against this guy because your bet might be looking good early, but you always got to be concerned about that comeback from Vera. But considering that I think that Dom Cruz has a really good chance to win some of these early rounds, I think Dom Cruz is going to win 2 or maybe even 3 of the first 3 rounds here. I mean, I just think it's crazy that he's a 2-1 dog in that sense. And it's going to be a fight where you have to watch the live line. You're going to have to see how Cruz is looking, see how his energy is looking, if he can sustain that high wrestling pace 4 or 5 rounds. But I mean, I think Cruz is definitely going to have some early success here with the takedowns. Vera's takedown defense remains pretty poor. He goes full guard on his back. He doesn't really have great scrambling ability to get off of his back, and he settles in that bottom position. So I think that we're going to see Cruz hit some takedowns here. I don't think he's going to keep Vera down with ease. I think he's probably going to have to drag him back down to the mat a few times. But even on the feet, this is going to be a competitive fight. Vera is definitely going to have the more power of the two, but Cruz is obviously a tremendous striker. Uh, we did see him get briefly wobbled by Pedro Munoz in his most recent fight. But he also recovered amazing from that. He got hurt, dropped a little bit in round one, and just immediately recovered, immediately got right in Pedro's face, and kind of took over the fight after that moment. So it shows that Cruz is able to get hurt and still be able to come back. And I think that's big for this fight. So I think Vera might have some shots that he lands on Cruz at times, but I don't think he's going to put Cruz out of there. I think it's going to be a 5 round decision for either guy. And I think Cruz, with the experience advantage, with the way better record in decisions, Ozzy will probably mention that when he talks about his, but uh, Cruz is just really, really good in decisions. Marlon Vera is not good in decisions. And Cruz is just a grinder, man. He knows what he has to do to win this fight. An extremely intelligent fighter, former champion, honestly, probably top 20 fighters all time. And I think that he really hasn't lost too many steps here, even though he is getting up there in age. He has been a little inactive. I still think he's, an elite tier fighter. And I think he's going to be the clearest guy to be betting on here at plus 205. It might even continue to go up. Some books are having even higher than 205. So you might as well wait to bet on Cruz. But I like Cruz here for probably a unit and a half, is what I'm going to be settling at here for Cruz.
Yeah,
And
so
then
I
wait,
mean,
wait, can I mention one more thing to it? The
sure.
most takedowns prop is the one I was talking about for this fight. I don't know if you've seen it, Ozzy, but DraftKings hanging Cruz most takedowns at minus 120, and you can build a same game parlay around there and get Cruz most takedowns
Wait,
at minus
so be
120.
so you but you cannot bet Cruz most takedowns,
Why
right?
not?
I'm saying, do you need to put it in the same game parlay?
Oh,
Is
you
that an
like you can do
individual
like
bet you can make?
well, you can do like to go like one and I don't know 2.5 minutes. Like you can parlay it with like
But
over half a
okay,
round at
but
minus
you
3.
you do need to make it a same game parlay.
Yeah,
Okay. So when you
what
say
I did.
those odds, is it if you do most takedowns
So if you,
and the fight
eh,
over half a round?
yeah, it still comes out to minus 120.
Still does. Okay. All right.
Yeah.
My turn.
Yes. Go ahead.
Okay. So great fight. I mean, I wish that they would have done actually the Jose Aldo fight for Dominic Cruz and then put Marab versus Cheeto. But whatever, it's all good. Two California guys main eventing. I love it. I think that this is a good fight for Dominic Cruz overall. I mean, if you just look at Cheeto, the way he approaches these fights, a lot of times he's not going first. You see against Rob Font, he's just going backwards most of the time. Or if they're at range, Rob Font will throw his combination. Cheeto will take it on his hands or whatever he was doing. And then some seconds later he decides to start answering back. I just think that's suicide against Dominic Cruz. I think Cheeto's best chance and what he's probably going to look to do, honestly, is he's going to look for those intercepting shots, like try to clip Dominic Cruz with a few punches here and there. As Dominic Cruz is kind of like rushing in and switching stances, coming forward, throwing his shots. But I mean, the narrative that Dominic Cruz is like a complete point fighter, know these things. I mean, I don't know if these people watch fights, but like, would you describe a point fighter, throwing 4 or 5 punch, flurries like he was doing against Pedro Munoz and Casey Kenny? Would you consider that a point fighter? I personally don't. I think it's one thing if you're throwing the strikes like that, and their fight ending. They have fight ending intentions. It's like when he's fighting Uriah Faber. Even then, he ends up dropping Uriah Faber in the second fight because he throws these punches hard. And that being said, the guy does not have natural power, tons of natural power, but he's got speed. He's got insane timing, the best probably timing we've ever seen in MMA. And he bewilders these guys. These guys do not understand how to hit him. And Cruz, he's seeing shit differently than the guys that he fights when he is in the right mode. And I think right now he is in the right mode. He was able to have that Casey Kenny fight, after he took that Henry Cejudo fight. It was the middle of the pandemic or the beginning of the pandemic. Very, very weird, awkward fight there. You're literally getting the same odds right now for Dominic Cruz after his last two performances. That you got against Henry Cejudo when he was coming off like a 3-year layoff or whatever. I forget how long exactly, but I mean he's been able to have two camps back to back where I think the results of the fight were good, both of them. I liked, like I said, how his hands were looking, the angles that he throws his strikes from are still there. His cardio is still there. He threw more strikes in his 3-round fight against Pedro Munoz, where he did spend like half a minute, more than half a minute, just rocked, getting stunned, like having to hold positions. He threw more strikes in that fight than Chito Vera did in the entire Rob Font fight. And I mean, people will see the results of that Rob Font fight in terms of the damage on the guy's face and the fact that he went down, right? But Chito also landed, tons of strikes on Rob Font, and there were 3 strikes that put Rob Font down. Jump knee, spinning, wheel kick to the head, and then 1 left hook. So you tell me, you think that he's gonna be landing kicks easily on Dominick Cruz to his head? When have you ever seen that? Now, like I say this, Dominick Cruz, he dips, he moves his head a lot. He does have it unprotected in there. And Cheeto does throw some solid kicks. He's looking to finish the fight consistently. But I like my chances, especially when you're giving me. I mean, even at even, dude, if this was even money, I would be thinking, I'm like, like if you're giving me like plus 110, 115, I'm thinking, I'm like Dominic Cruz, should I take him here? Maybe could I get a better live number? Probably not. Yeah, I'm thinking about it then. If I'm getting 205, like I'm all in. There's not even a doubt. Like not one, question comes into my head thinking that the return is the potential return being better on the Cheeto Vera side. Just crazy. I think it's a casual bet. I'll use that. I'm gonna keep using that term. Hopefully, I could go undefeated with that. Be like 35-0 on uses of casual bets. But I think Cheeto Vera is a very casual bet. The guy, is gonna have to change up his style, I think, a lot to beat Dominic Cruz. Even his leg kicks, dude. He crippled O'Malley with leg kicks. Bro, O'Malley is not Dominic Cruz, and Dominic Cruz moves way better than these guys that Cheeto Vera has been fighting. Like don't compare him to Frankie Edgar. This guy's 4 years younger, was not taken on. Frankie Edgar went to the Shadow Realm by uh, Cody, not Corey Sanhagen, 8 months, 9 months before that Vera fight. The guy was just fragile, super fragile. So I'm gonna make Vera prove it to me again. So I got him at plus 205. I haven't bet him yet because it's been going up. It's just been going up. But I was interested at 150, like I said, 165, 185. Just the amount that I'm gonna bet is gonna be bigger, and the more I'm gonna try to be, considerate on how I'm placing it. I was seeing that decision only line. I'm gonna be on that. And yeah, I love Dominic Cruz in this spot. I think this guy's still a top 5 bantamweight. And I mean, who in like the top 5 bantamweights against each other? None of them really should be plus like 205. Like you learned in the Aljamain Sterling fight that you can't make those guys that much of a favorite again. I mean, Dominic Cruz could just take him down and hold him in a body triangle like Jose Aldo did. Like Cheeto just is a strange fighter. He gets held like that against Jose Aldo in a fight that he knew he needed to win the 3rd round. He knocks down Rob Font in the 4th round where, he stands over him for a minute, doesn't even try to finish. He hits him with that HBK fucking sweet chin music kick, and it ends the fight on a good note. But that was his Super Bowl, and now he's got to come into San Diego talking all this shit about Dominic Cruz. Let's see. And if you look at it, dude, he absorbed 271 strikes from Rob Font 3 months ago. That shit ain't good for you. So give me Dominic Cruz. I think we got all the intangibles on our side. We got a lot of the upside on our side, and I'm very, very confident that he's gonna look good on Saturday.
Sounds good. So Ozzy definitely more confident than me, but I'll be riding that train as well. And that's gonna do it for this podcast. Coming in about 45 minutes for this card. Some compact information there, and that's gonna bring us to our best bet parlay of the week. I have mine in mind. I'll go first and go ahead and say it. It's gonna be the Zalal-Blackshear GTD at minus 190. And what's it gonna be for you, Ozzy?
All right, I'm gonna give you two for the more faint of heart. Let's bet from last week. We roll it to this week. Lipski, Cachero, over or yeah. Now we'll switch it to the over actually. So we'll switch it whichever one people want. But I'm gonna officially switch it to the over minus 170 as opposed to the 155 or 146, whatever goes the distance. So I'll switch it to that. And then for the less faint of heart, Dominic Cruz plus 205. For me, my official one will be Dominic Cruz at that big plus 200 number. But I mean, if some people want to parlay the 3 of them, I don't mind. If you want to do a little more safe, juice play like you with yours where you're getting close to even money. But my official best bet, what I'm going to bet the most money on, is Dominic Cruz.
All right, so that's gonna be Cruz plus 195 DraftKings combined with minus 190 DraftKings on the GTD comes out to plus 350. So some big plus money on this week, and I'm feeling good about it. Two, two main money, Cruz and Clark. Gonna be looking to do that. The Buday fight going long, and got loopy early money. Maybe some Quinlan decision as well. But, that'll do it. That'll do it. Any closing
One
thoughts here,
second.
Ozzy?
Yes, exactly. Thank you for throwing it back. I've got a few Bellator plays that I like. So I'm taking Neiman Gracie, the main event. I'm taking Moldavsky in the co-main event. Both those are down to 175 on DraftKings. I like both those prices, or anywhere under 200. I think both those guys should be north of minus 200. And I like I'm just riding the juice. I like Vanderford over Aaron Henry. I'm actually very confident in that Vanderford
Sure.
side. So,
They're all minus 175 right now too.
yep. So I like those three. And then the goes distance or GTD in the Gokhan Saeed fight. So those are four Bellator MMA plays. Which and I'll throw PFL one PFL side. I like. Scroll down to this here. I'm going against a lot of people. I know a lot of people like C. I actually prefer Carlos Leal there. I think that he's gonna be able to mix it up and win that fight. So those are there's five play. That's pick'em minus 105, minus 101. Those are five plays that I got this week.
Damn, valuable information being given out. Mine'll be Kish money line. Or no, I'm sorry, Bennett money line. Parlay it with Lipski-Cachoeira money line.
Wow.
That's the women's MMA lock juice parlay.
So
And that'll do it. That'll do it. So we'll be all back next week before UFC 278, I think, or two. I think that's the number. And that'll do it. Thank you all for listening. Hope you all enjoyed the podcast. Win some bets, and we'll see you all before the next UFC event. Peace out, everybody.